We're about to rehouse my Thrixopelma ockerti. I got this one as a sling, as a freebie actually, from Jamie's Tarantulas back in, I think it was April of 2015. Since then, I've rehoused it twice. The first time it was because I had it in one of the Jamie's enclosures, and I was trying to get something that was a little more stackable. So the enclosure was completely appropriate for it. It was doing fine at, but I moved it to a 16-ounce deli container. And then from the deli container, after it started putting on some size, I moved it into what we have here, which is the 2-quart container. Yes, these are a little milky, but I like the size for my larger slings. And usually what ends up happening is after they hit about 3 inches or so, I move them out of here into something else. In this case, I'm moving it into one of these. I got these on Amazon. I got 4 of them for Christmas. The thing I don't like about them is they're a little more milky than the normal critter keepers, but they're easily adaptable for spiders. She'll be in here for probably a few molts until she gets to be about 5 or 6 inches, which is their max size, and then I'll get her into something a little prettier, probably an acrylic, because this is one of my favorite ones to look at. They just got a beautiful coloration. This is a species that can be kept, has been kept terrestrially, but they do quite well if you set them up semi-arboreally. And I did have the sling in a terrestrial setup. It did fine, and when I moved it into the arboreal setup, for the time being, it kind of stayed on the ground. As it put on some size, it does like to sit up right up top, almost like an arboreal species. So something to think about. Where they come from, it's very, very humid. You don't need to keep the substrate moist once they get some size on them. A lot of people that keep them keep the substrate dry and keep a water dish in there. I do like to moisten the substrate down, and then I let it dry out in between, so I'm not obsessive about it. Right now, what I've added is some semi-moist substrate, which I will let dry out a bit, and then what I'll do is, using my water bottle, I'll simulate a rain shower, moisten down part of it, and let it dry out and just keep going. For the time being, she, what am I saying? For the last several months or so, she's actually hung up right on top of this like an arboreal species as I get my train of thought back. My neighbors are outside shooting guns and blowing things up, so if you hear an explosion, it's not us, it's the neighbors. We're just waiting for it to go boom again. They have exploding targets. It's fantastic. Welcome to Hillbillyville. This species, temperament-wise, and I'm hoping she'll do... There it is. Get that. Put the light on. Oh. All right, back up. Too close. The butt up in the air is one of their defenses. They will basically take their abdomen and put it straight up in the air, and the next step, if you don't back off because of that, is they start kicking the hairs. And I've heard people are very sensitive to the hairs of these guys. I was actually going to put gloves on before I did this, and I forgot, so we'll see if I'm all itchy later on. I've had pretty good luck. And just a note, when I put the cup in here, I'm being very, very careful not to trap the legs underneath. All right, there she is. Let me get the piece of cardboard underneath that I put where? New piece of cardboard, apparently. Seriously, why am I really losing stuff everywhere?
It's underneath the cardboard right there. Underneath the card right here.
Oh, thank you. This is my hand, my notes. Let me go ahead and try to get this one up in here. This doesn't give me a lot of space. And she's kicking up a storm. And still kicking up a storm. And still kicking up a storm. No, get your legs out of there. Get your legs out of there. There we go. And still kicking up a storm.
She's gonna be bald.
Yeah, I know, I hate that. Let me get my fingers out of the way. So there she is, still aggravated, and yes, she's kicked. Can you see the fuzz?
Yep.
She's kicked a lot of hair. I should have had gloves on. I'm going to pay for this. Now, this enclosure will give her plenty of space to grow. As you can see, she's probably about 3.5 inches or so, and this is a fairly good size enclosure. But I do want to have her give her some more room. She was getting a little tight in that one over there. So let me see if I can slip this out. No, easy, 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 easy. You're out of here, girl. Still kicking, and of course up the cup. And this has got hair all over it, so I'm going to go drop it in here. I can just see clouds of hair. It's going to be all itchy later on. And as I was saying before she started going crazy and sticking the butt up in the air and doing all this stuff, these guys are very, very skittish, and they will not hesitate to kick hairs. They race around like little madmen and women. The other one I had, I've done 2 videos previous. One of them featured this as just a little 1.25 or 1.5 inch sling. And the other one featured one that I was hoping was going to be a female, but was a male. And in that one, she was kicking the entire time when I did the sling one. My male actually sat still for the video. It was amazing. There's her abdomen straight up in the air. I don't know if it's coming out. On the ground. There, she's kicking again. Oh my gosh. She's kicked herself completely wild. If I can get this out, you'll see her abdomen up in the air. See her abdomen up in the air? And she's completely kicked herself bald. I feel terrible. But she'll be happy in here as she shoots out the other side. Now, temperature-wise, these guys, like all my spiders, and I say this only because I don't know who's looking these videos up and haven't heard this a million times, but during the winter time, it's about the mid-70s, 72 to mid-70s or so. I've been keeping it a little warmer. And during the summertime, it gets up to 80. Like right in the room right now, it's 80 degrees. Usually doesn't get any lower than 76 or so. Most of the time, high 70s. And as you can see, a poor girl, we're going to put her on the shelf, let her kind of relax, but obviously she didn't enjoy that. Growth-wise, again, I got this one just about 2 years ago as I think it was about 3/4 inch sling or so, and she's probably about 3.5 inches now. So medium growth, and they do pick up their colors rather quickly. She had her colors right about 1.5 inches or so, which was cool. As I drop the water dish in, fill the water dish up. So this is Thrixopelma ockerti, not a species I would try to handle. When you change it, when you do any enclosure maintenance, be prepared to get haired and put the gloves on. I'm sure I'm going to be filming this later on. We'll slide this one open. There she's in the corner with her bald butt. I feel bad. But wonderful species, great coloration. One of the few tarantulas that kind of shows greens, which I really, really like. And they're readily available. They're not particularly expensive, grow quickly, very, very hardy. Very cool species to have in your collection.